Hello everyone, the Son of the West again. Um, I'd like to talk to you about mystic truths today. Basically, I want to create a series on this because Jesus consistently asked people if they understood truth, and what he's talking about is mystic truths. The true reality of things. Uh, uh, you know, most meditative thought systems and mystery schools eventually arrive at the statement that life is an illusion. It's not so much life that's an illusion, though, it's humanity. Um, Against the scope of eternity, which doesn't have a beginning or an end, it just goes on and on. Anything that does have a beginning and an end is the illusion. So therefore, the body is born and it dies. But you're not the body. You're in the body. So that's my number two subject is you're not the body. The body is your vessel. Um, Alex Gray understands this. He created a work of art with a human body, with a spiritual baby inside the head. And I understand that as truth because we're all God's children. And we're all children inside the body, experiencing through the choices that we make in the world and gathering that experience so that we, kind of understand how to make good choices. So that way we, don't screw up heaven. Because once we get there, we're already experienced. We already know right from wrong, and God can trust us to do what's right. So, once you understand it and you start the path, that's the greatest feeling because you stop making mistakes so much. You stop being so selfish and selfishness is the only real mistake. So, and that's where all of our problems come from. So, back to the mystic truths is the body is your vessel, kind of like a car on the freeway. Okay, so when you come into the car, you know where you want to go, but as you start driving down the road of life, so many of us become lost because of, what we want to do in the world, what, our worldly desires and what we're here to do causes us to become distracted, and then we have our own interests, which also come in and add more confusion to the mix. So, back to what I was saying is, your body is your vessel, and it's designed to get you where you're going, but if you lose where it is that you're going because you get misled and distracted, then you're really lost, and that's what it is to be lost. It's to be lost in worldly desire. It's to be lost in not knowing the way and not knowing truth. And, so many churches and organized religions will tell you that you're the body and that you'll never be as good as Christ, and don't ever try to understand the mind of God because your mind is finite and you'll never understand the unlimited, glory of God. But that's because they don't understand it, and they're going to try to tell you that you don't understand it because they don't want you to understand it. Because when Christ understood it, he went out and showed showed the people what he understood, and that basically stood to undo all the power and comfort of the elitists, which was the leaders of the organized religions of the world, the governments of the world, and so in the Bible, so many people can read the story and not ever get it, But in the Bible, when you look at what Jesus was saying and doing, it's so easy to see what actually happened. But you got to read between the lines. You got to see what he was saying. You got to interpret what he was saying. That's what it's all about. So, the Bible is all about interpretation, how you interpret the word. Don't have somebody tell you how to interpret the word. Read it, take it in, eat it, whatever you want to say. Make it part of you. Make it part of your being, because the word is unconditional love, and God is love, and God's love's unconditional. He's with you your whole life, but not so that he can yell at you in the end, but because he's with you so he knows what you like, so that when you get out of the world and you overcome all your worldly desire and you overcome all your selfishness, he can spoil you because you already have love and everything else is just a bonus. He doesn't need to give you those things so that you can know that he loves you. You'll already know that he loves you, and all that he gives you is just a bonus at that point. So, what is the second coming? Okay, a lot of people ask this because everybody's worried about the end, and they're worried about the end because they don't know the way. They don't know truth. And, when it comes down to the second coming, you are the second coming. I don't know if you understand that. And others are threatened by what that might mean. So they mislead you, tell you you are not, and they call you a sinner. And they say, you shouldn't think that way. And they effectively, in doing this, they effectively turn you against yourself. And they trap you there, in the dark, in the world, in confusion. And that way you keep coming back to them for understanding and clarification. Because if you're not thinking for yourself, it's easy for them to think for you. What is it to be saved? You've heard this a lot, right? Jesus never walked up to anyone and said, you're saved. With Jesus, it was always their faith that saved them. Have you ever been lost? Once you are truly saved, you will know what you have been saved from. You don't know that you are found until you realize that you are lost. So, quit thinking that you're so right and just understand that you're lost. I had to do that. I had to, suck it up, man, and figure out that I was lost so that I could find my way. Because as long as you think you know the way, you don't realize you're lost. And you're walking around in circles, spinning your wheels, and you don't realize it. And that's the thing. Once you're truly saved, you'll know what you've been saved from. So many times you go to church and they tell you, oh, don't worry, just come here, put some money in the plate, you're safe, don't worry, you're with us, you're in good hands, don't worry. That's on Sunday, but Monday you're back to the same old stuff, and you're back to the same old suffering, and you don't understand why, and the whole time is because you haven't found your way, and you're still going around in circles, going nowhere, and that's why you're suffering. So, what you've truly been saved from is emptiness, or not being, or no child within. The lights are on, but nobody's home, kind of like an egg that hasn't been fertilized. The egg that hasn't been fertilized isn't saved, because it has no life. It has the shell, but no life. Can you get that? If you don't have love and you think that you do, then to save you is to show you that you don't have it so that you can find it. If you don't have God in you, then you don't have love in you, and you're going to always end up suffering. And the only way to create a better world for all of us is to show everybody the truth and help them understand. To truly be lost is to truly just not understand. You're lost in not understanding. What does the illusion teach? So, life's an illusion. Humanity's an illusion. But what are we meant to learn from the illusion? How to be, how to love, how to make good choices, intelligent choices, how to spread love and not hate. Congratulations to those who come into being before coming into being. Jesus said this in the Gospel of Thomas. And what that means is, if you're that egg and you become fertilized and you have life in you and love in you, that's you coming into being. Because God doesn't want you to be eternally unhappy. He wants you to find love, because love's where happiness truly comes from. And once you know love and you have love in your heart, then whether you have or have not doesn't matter, because love is where happiness comes from. Love is what is the only place that happiness is enduring. That which is material and physical does not create lasting happiness. It only creates more sadness, because that which goes up has to come down. So it's that up and down roller coaster that creates the sadness in our lives, but that's what traps us. So life in the illusory world is an opportunity to do it all wrong without ever putting yourself in harm's way, because you won't know how to do it right until you've done it wrong, and until you've experienced doing it wrong. So you'll understand why it was wrong, and you'll understand why you shouldn't do the wrong thing, because what the wrong thing creates is not what you want, but you don't don't know that you don't want that until you've experienced not wanting it. So that's why God creates all experiences, good and bad, so that he's kind of building he's seasoning us through experiences into perfection, because God's children are perfect. They know right from wrong. They aren't irritating. So he creates all experiences so that we can do it wrong, so that we can know why we've done it wrong, and know the why that arises from experiencing the result of the wrong. So, back to what I was saying is, God created all things for us, and only God knows the reasoning behind all things. But everything was created in love, and including entheogens. And man deems many entheogens illegal and bad for fear of uprisal, and they call them drugs, But in reality, man sells us drugs all the time, and the drugs that they say are okay and they can tax them. Caffeine, drink coffee too, coffee, alcohol, these are all bad things. Well, not necessarily bad, because a lot of them inspire thought and things like that. But God created all things so that we can use them for what they were intended for, and only God knows what He intended all things for. I've happened to come into an awareness that psilocybin mushrooms and other entheogens of that sort are designed to help you overcome the worldly self, help you overcome the controls of the body. And that's part of you becoming who you are. You're not the body, and you need to overcome its controls over you. And it controls you through what it needs and what it desires and feelings and things. So, back to what I was saying is, man deems drugs illegal, yet they sell you drugs on a daily basis that they can tax. So it's not that we're not taking drugs, because we all are. We just don't know it. There's drugs in the water. But what you need to understand is that the drugs that man says is okay are the ones that don't open your mind, and they don't, inspire spiritual awareness. Because when you inspire spiritual awareness, you overcome worldly desire, and the world wants you to have worldly desires so that they can keep making money off you and keep their power status and eliteness. So a lot of the things that church says are very conflicting, like all are created equal, none are special. It says that in the Bible. And then they'll turn right around and say, oh, well, except for Jesus. Jesus was divine. But that's basically them just preventing you from knowing who you are, because we're all Christ in potential. We just don't realize that potential. So all are created equal, none are special. This goes against the mainstream religious society and thought. So who was Jesus really? Was he a real guy? And he walked around and helped people with what he knew? And that's why the organized religions of the world didn't want him around, because what he was teaching people was helping them overcome their tendency to give in to the elitists. I want to get more into that later, because I'm running out of time here. But does you realizing who you are and becoming spiritually aware limit the amount of worldly fun that one has in the world? No. It simply allows one to find what they are truly searching for in the world. And when they realize what that is, most simply reject that which they know is not going to bring them the true lasting happiness, which comes from finding what is real and not conditional. Conditional love. Conditional love isn't real. It's you trying to please someone who doesn't feel the same way about you. So, in trying to please them, they have power over you, and a lot of people will abuse that power. So, in rejecting worldly material and temporal happiness, which only ends in sadness, or a feeling of lacking when you no longer have it. Like money can create happiness when you have it, but when you don't have it, you feel lacking. So there's no real happiness there because money comes and it goes. So find happiness without money, and you'll find happiness with money. So most of the world would see this surrendering and this turning away of material, temporal happiness as a negative path, or at least less attractive. But to the awakened child, this path is far less cumbersome and exhausting and way more liberating. And it's freeing and rewarding to who we truly are. So, make a long story short, mystic truths are designed to help us find true happiness. And Jesus also wanted the same thing for us. But he knew that we wouldn't find that until we overcome our selfishness. And so that's why he created the things that he created in the world, because he knew that he wouldn't be here forever. And he knew that he wanted to help everyone. So he recorded his teachings. And in doing so, like in the Gospel of Thomas, and in doing so, he continued to save people by helping them understand even after he left the world. And all mystics do this. All seekers of God and children of God try to help others and do so through helping them understand. But you can't go beyond free will to help somebody understand. You can't take away their doubt, because their doubt is their own to overcome. And so therefore your doubt is still your own to overcome. I can't help you any more than I have now. But I can tell you that you do have within you the potential to understand, because our life energy, our breath of life, comes from God. So in essence, we share God's energy, and that energy is able to understand everything. And that's what we need to access. So if you can figure out how to do that, you're leaps and bounds beyond the rest of the people in the world. Because when I look at the world, I see a whole bunch of empty eggs and non-fertilized children, just going about, spinning their wheels, doing whatever society tells them that they need to do so that they can achieve that worldly comfort. But that's not where happiness comes from. So if you can figure that out, you're no longer lost. Good luck to you, brothers and sisters. Have a great day.